Those look awesome.
Well, honestly, I wasn't planning on putting this project on the channel. It was just supposed to be a quick little woodworking job for the house. You know, no 3D printing, no design work, just wood, fire, stain, the usual. Boring. But thankfully, I grabbed some footage anyway because it didn't stay just a woodworking project, at least not for long. But don't tell my wife.
Hey, hun, what are you working on today?
Oh, I don't know, probably just tinkering around.
Well, maybe you can tinker out those rustic wooden shutters you've been promising me.
I wonder if there's a way I can 3D print them.
No 3D printing, just woodworking. I want them to look nice and rustic, not plastic.
Okay.
All right, to start, we're going to play by the rules. No printers, just good old-fashioned tools and a questionable level of DIY confidence. We'll get all those boards cut to length, and let's start assembling. Some wood glue and some brad nails. We'll get all these boards put together. There's one shutter done. Then we're going in lightning torch. Shou Sugi Ban. We're going to burn those boards to close up all the wood grains and give it a natural weather sealant. And brush off all the char. Blow all the dust off. And then it's time to apply some stain.
Eventually, got them up. And from a distance, not bad. I mean, they look good. It was what my wife asked for. They were rustic. They were wooden. It added a nice little bit of charm to the house. But something was off. It was just missing something. It just didn't feel complete. It didn't feel finished. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. The shutters, they were technically done. I had done what my wife had asked. They just didn't feel finished. They felt naked. So it was time to break the rule. So I hopped into Fusion and I sketched out some faux iron style hinges. You know, the kind that scream, we're not messing around, but also whisper, you know, we were printed last night. Yeah, but I think we got this. Since I was printing the same part over and over again, I wanted to use it as an opportunity to test out all the top surface patterns inside my slicer. So this first one is the concentric, see if I get the light right so you can see it, the concentric top surface pattern. I really thought, since I had all these rounded parts inside this design, that the slicer would interpret this a little bit better. I'm not super happy with how that turned out. I'm sure with some sanding and maybe some filler primer, I can get it nice and flat. And maybe it just looks worse than it really is, because it does feel really smooth. You can see it over there, but did definitely get a little wonky design. All right, so next was the rectilinear top surface pattern. So it's like a 90-degree grid. You can kind of see the lines going both directions there. This turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with this. One thing I noticed is I definitely get these deeper gouge lines throughout the print. See if I can get the light just right that you can see it. Deeper gouge lines throughout it. That might be user error. Maybe there's a setting I'm not tweaking just right. So if you've experienced this and you have a fix for this, please let me know in the comments, because I'd love to be able to get a little bit cleaner of a top surface than what I'm getting here. All right, so after the rectilinear was the monotonic. So instead of the 90-degree grid, this is all going one direction, but same exact thing. I'm getting those deeper gouges in almost the same place. So maybe my bed's not perfectly flat. Maybe that's why I'm getting that. This one looks pretty good. It's nice and flat. I was really happy with how this turned out. With a little bit of finishing, I think this will look great. But I just wish I can get a little bit more refined and not smoother surface. All right, so the last thing I attempted after that was the top layer ironing. I haven't used the ironing setting before. And what the ironing setting does, if you're not already familiar, is it'll have the extruder head pass right on top of the print one more time on the top layers, and it'll just be heated, so hopefully melt it and smooth it all out. It won't actually extrude any filament. It'll just do a heated pass over the top of it. And granted, it turned out a little bit better than what the monotonic did. It wasn't enough to really warrant the amount of time that it extended my print time. And it left a lot of stringing. Granted, I did print these in PET G for another experiment I'm trying to do, which PET G is already susceptible to a lot of stringing as it is, I noticed, but the ironing just accentuated that tenfold. This has got a lot of stringing I gotta clean up. And again, I got the deeper gouge lines in basically the same exact spots, so I'm starting to wonder if this is a bed issue. All right, so next I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of this isopropyl alcohol just to get up any of the little plastic dust, PLA dust I have on there. Clean it up a little bit. I found this miracle, and I'm going for a rustic appearance on these shutters here. So I found this at my local big box store, this Rust-Oleum matte hammered. It said right on there, hide surface imperfections. But here is what it looked like after just 2 coats, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. Now this is on top of the monotonic, so let me show you those side by side. So here's the monotonic, and then what it looked like when I did 2 coats of this matte hammered spray. The matte hammered spray is the one down here, the unfinished up here. Turned out pretty good. I really like that finish. And then I did one more test. I used the top surface ironing, and I just took off the stringing I had everywhere, the really light sanding, didn't even really go to town on it. And I printed it again, and I love this. I do still see a couple of the deeper gouge marks there, but other than that, I think these turned out phenomenal. These 2 finished parts with a little bit of spray. I didn't even have to use any filler primer spray at all. No filler primer. I just went right at this hammered matte, and man, do I love this. I think this really gives it that kind of medieval look I was going for, and I think it's going to look awesome on those shutters just to give them that final touch. I think this is wonderful. So I know this is supposed to be a woodworking only build, but sometimes a 3D printer doesn't replace the project. It just finishes it. It accents it. It just brings it to the next level. I didn't plan on using the printer, but I'm really glad I did. Also, let's be honest. We all knew I was going to find a way to sneak a 3D printer into this project from the beginning, because this is a 3D print channel. Hopefully you found this episode entertaining, maybe a little inspirational. Hopefully it just gave you some ideas for your next project. Subscribe for more smart upgrades that you didn't see coming. I'll see y'all in the next one.